Hi, it's Jane Lynn and Jeff
Hi.
from At Home with Jane Lynn and Jeff. And this is the second episode of our new series, wanting to share with you some things that we've learned throughout the years of working with our son with autism. And when we were talking last week, we talked a little bit about some of our biggest challenges that we had and how we overcame them. And you had a good idea as you were starting to talk about motivations.
Right.
And we said, why don't we actually use that as a subject of today? Like why it's important to motivate our children to do anything and how to do that. So we're going to start off with why it's important. And Jeff, you are so good at explaining that. Why don't you give it a try?
Okay. So one of the things I think with motivation, it's really important that a person is motivated, because if you get someone who's not motivated, they may go through the motions and they may participate, but are they really learning, and is it something that's going to excite them and fuel them and drive them forward? And I think when someone's motivated, they're much more apt to participate meaningfully, rather than just doing what you want them to do. I've seen that so many times in ABA trials where it's just a kid stacking the block, and it becomes rote, and they're not really think about it, and really they're not participating or socializing with another human being. They're just doing the task because they know that's what's wanted, and they may get something at the end, a reward. So the task almost becomes meaningless in my mind when you don't have that motivation to drive the task forward. You know, it's kind of the difference between you trying to teach me algebra and I'm not really involved.
Algebra.
Yeah. So.
No, absolutely. And you know, it kind of reminds me of what we used to say is we want William to want to do it. And I think it's because we talk a lot about, as parents of children with autism, we talk a lot about helping our kids generalize something. And actually what I've seen is the way to help them generalize, meaning they don't just do it at school or at home or once, but if they want to do it, they learn it.
Yeah.
And then they do it again and again. And that's the motivation you're talking about.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, so this is going to be really fun. That's the why, and we wanted to show you how. There's lots of different ways to motivate, but it really depends on your family, it depends on your child and what they find really interesting. So we're going to show you by actually demonstrating what we would do for William, so some activities. We have asked a friend of ours to write down 4 motivations, and it's in this box that we created. We have no idea what's in here, but basically this friend knows William, hangs out with him, and if she offers something to him, he will be excited and do it. That's what's in this box. And now we have a list of 4 things that we want William to do, and we're going to match one of these with the motivation and tell you how we would do that. So again, we're kind of not unprepared. We prepared 8 years for this, but
on the spur of the moment usually.
Yeah.
So it's like this is kind of stuff we've trained for.
So the reason we're doing this is to show you it's important to be flexible and creative, because when you want to teach your children, you want that connection, and the way to get that is being flexible, going with whatever's happening, and being creative. It doesn't necessarily matter that it's accurate, but as long as you get their attention and you teach them, and of course that it's safe. So, Jeff, we're gonna let you go first.
Oh boy.
You get to, wait, before you choose. So you have 4 things to choose from.
Well, I want to know what the motivation is, and then I'm going to pick something that fits one of those 4 things.
Ah, you do? Okay, I'm going to do it opposite. So this is how we're going to be flexible.
Yep.
All right, you go ahead and choose your motivation. Here, hold it up so everyone can see.
Okay. Books.
All right, looking at books, reading books. Okay, so the choices are take out the trash, physically participate in a game, clean up your toys, or learn some more social skills by hanging out with friends.
Okay, I'm going to choose physically participate because books are just so participatory. I'm going to go grab a book real quick, and so we can kind of show. Just grab any book. Oh, awesome book. What's the name of this song? Sesame Street.
Okay, so this would be for a younger child.
Yep.
And a more, so obviously think about age-appropriate things.
Yep. So one of the things I think that the first thing you could do is you could hold the book up, and you want to hold it to your face. And again, I think you've talked about this before in previous Facebook Live, Jane Lynn. It's really important that you want to get your child focused on you, looking at you. Yeah. And so that helps build the motivation. And what I would do with this to get William to participate is I would probably do something like a silly voice, like, "Oh, it's Elmo! Oh my goodness, 8 balls of fur!" And I'd read down this with my silly voice. And I'd say, "Oh my goodness, Elmo needs some help, William. William, can you help me by turning the page?"
All right, so turning the page is the physical
participation in the game. Or I could go to William, "Oh my goodness, William, Elmo doesn't know what song to sing. Could you choose a song for Elmo? Elmo wants to know, do you want 8 balls of fur or Get Along?" And again, have him make a choice. You could simply take all the songs in the book and create what I call a jukebox. And you just take a piece of paper and you'd write down the titles of the song, assuming your child was familiar with the songs, and say, "Oh my goodness, Elmo doesn't know what song to sing. Elmo's a jukebox. He wants your help. So you choose the song and Elmo's gonna turn the page." And so that's that.
And how would he choose? You would have to tell him how to participate, which is to point.
Elmo wants you to point with your finger.
Good.
And so now we've got him not only participating by making a choice, but he's also pointing. And he's having to look at you, look at the paper. So now you're working on eye contact in addition to participation. And you can even do such things as the human jukebox. "Okay, now Elmo's powered his jukebox by your eye contact."
Okay. All right, so you're going you're getting a lot in this one little demonstration.
Yeah, but so what you can do then is say, "If you're looking at me, this jukebox has power." And you keep singing. Now, if your child looks away, you stop singing. "Oh, Elmo needs power. And you need to look at me so I can sing and be powerful." And so you do that, and you can, so many different ways you can take this one little activity and work on very different things. And here's the great part. You can start off with one objective, and if I've got Will participating, and my child's participating, I can start going for other things I want to do and incorporating multiple facets in the same game.
Awesome.
So you can work on 3 or 4 things in this one little simple game, just picking up a book.
Awesome. One thing to remember is that your child is going to be a different age. So obviously you want to make it age appropriate. That was a great example for maybe a younger child, and maybe you have a book that's more, I don't know, if you have a teenage son, maybe it's a book about baseball. And you are teaching your child baseball, and a way to physically participate is actually to demonstrate by getting a baseball bat and a ball and going that route too. So I'm glad you did that, because it's important to note we all have different age kids. All right, so we're going to challenge me. You choose what we want William to do.
Something she never does herself, taking out the trash.
Oh, yeah.
I always do that.
Yes, yeah, I do it with William. All right, so I'm wanting him to help take out the trash. That's the goal. And I just chose this motivation, which is crafts. Okay, he loves doing crafts of all kinds. He loves glue, he loves tape, he loves scissors. And so I could do any number of things. Now I'm gonna throw out something that's really, really out there, but you could help get your child to say, "Hey, or William, let's get the trash ready, and we're going to turn this into a craft." And then you can decorate it. You can get some glue. You tie the bag, you can glue it, get some sparkly things. You can actually turn it into a monument. You can make that part fun. Or you could obviously say, "Let's take the garbage out." And then I had this super fun craft we're going to do afterwards. So if you want to separate them, get the trash done, use the motivation for after. But I'm really all about trying to combine it. So you might consider the first option and just kind of seeing where that goes. All right, your turn.
All righty.
We have 2 more. Thanks for hanging in there.
Bike rides.
All right, so bike rides, and our dog knows that word. He wants to go for a bike ride. a car, it's a bike. All right, so there are 2 options left. If we wanted to clean up the toys or hang out with friends and build social skills. Angel, you're early today. We're not ready for you.
Okay, down.
All right.
Thank you, puppy. All right, so bike ride. All right, so maybe one way you could do a bike ride is by, hey, let's get on our bikes and ride over to your friend Eddie's house and we can hang out with Eddie. Or you could say, let's call Eddie and see if Eddie wants to come over and do a bike ride. So there are so many ways you could go with this. But you know, the thing is Will loves bike rides, so you get excited about the bike ride. You really, hey, bike ride time, yes! And so you can say you could bike ride to a friend's house. You could say, let's call a friend to come over and bike ride. You could make up a game about bike rides and invite a friend over where you pretend to ride bikes in a silly fashion. And then actually
or a
go
race, like a competition.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when we say, hey, I'm going to beat you, William rides even faster.
Yeah, so great add-on.
Sorry.
So
I'm getting excited.
So yeah, so that's awesome ways you can kind of play with that. So
Cool. Awesome.
Yep.
All right, the last one is clean up the toys. So now I need to inspire him to clean up toys. Can't wait to see what this motivation is.
I think I know.
Science experiment.
Oh.
He loves science experiments. You know, I keep, when I saw this, I'm thinking like the mad scientist, and I kind of feel that in order to do a science experiment, you have to be messy. Right? And that's just kind of normal. So I think I would do the science experiment first and make it really fun, and then say, now we need to clean it all up. But then maybe his motivation drops, right? Because we've done the fun stuff first. The second part, the cleanup, could be our own experiment. Maybe let's toss it all into a big bag or a big bowl and make something with that. What kind of experiment? What happens when we mix these 2 things together, or clang these 2 things together? Or you can make, we used to call this like a playroom stew. It's, you know, just putting everything in the middle and mixing it all up. That could actually be an experiment. And now I'm talking that I'm really liking that idea. What I would do is I wouldn't call it, let's clean up your toys. I would call it something, let's create a classroom experiment. And maybe now it's almost Halloween, and that's why I'm thinking a stew, a witch's brew. Or there could be something other, you know, seasonal thing that you do. But he would totally like that, because then we're like making more of a mess. And then we're putting it away for another day.
Yeah.
So.
And one thing you could do with, even to continue the science experiment, if you make the mess, you could time each other to see how long it takes you to put a toy back on the shelf. So you almost make a game of the cleanup. Think about the cleanup as a game. Don't think of it as a chore. You know, sometimes it's all how you view things and how you react to your child. So when you're trying to propose your action, think of a way, how can I make this fun? Well, cleaning up the toys. Let's race. I'm going to clean up more toys than you, Jane Lynn, and go around the room. And Will may say that too, or your child may say that too. But the object is not to see who cleans up more. The object is to get your child to do a task that normally most kids would look at you and go, and get them to participate and make it fun for them and make it exciting and make it interactive. And there's so many different ways you can spin it when you use your imagination and your creativity. So
Absolutely. So these are some ways that we've been able to get William to physically participate, to be excited about doing the things we want to help him do better. And from that excitement, we see he actually wants to do it more, and he'll start to do it independently. And I hope you have fun giving that a try. Next week, we haven't decided what we're going to do, and it would be fun if anyone decides or has an idea or a question and you want to post it, you can let us know. And I see that Nick has said hi. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. And Claude joined as well. Anyone else who's there, we really appreciate your interest and your feedback. And definitely if you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to talk about, because I think this is pretty unique that you have a husband and a wife and a mom and a dad of a special needs child, and we have tons of experience. And as you see, lots of energy and excitement and enthusiasm.
And come on, Angel, it's time for your cameo. Yes, we love you, buddy.
Great, thanks so much for joining. And we'll see you next time at home with Jane Lynn and Jeff and Angel. Bye.